This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Mike, what up, man? It's raining here in Arizona, man. People losing their minds. No one has any idea what to do.
What is driving become like out there?
Oh, disaster.
When it rains and people aren't used to the rain.
I feel like there's either two kinds of drivers, man. There's either people who are going like 20 below or like 30 above the speed limit. There's like no in between.
Yeah, I actually had a little road rage incident today. If we want to, yeah, I did. We didn't talk about we didn't talk about this.
I love your stories.
Last week we were talking hip hop to open the we were dancing and singing "Let Me Clear My Throat" last week. This week we're gonna go road rage stories. I have some classic ones. I have some classic ones. Okay,
I've been a part of a few of them.
You have. One. So today, what happened was the speed. So there's a small town that borders my town, and I live right near the border. And there's a couple roads where the speed limit is 25 miles an hour on these roads, right? And this small town is so small, they don't even have their own police department. So they just switched neighboring towns for the police department that they're working with, right? So I know that these cops are out there. They're like pulling people over. They're watching these particular roads that are 25 miles an hour or whatever. But so I'm driving today, and I'm driving on one of these roads, and I'm going 25 because I know the cops are out there somewhere, and it turns out they weren't. And, man, this person behind me just got so heated that I was driving so slow. And they got all up on my bumper. And all that's going to do with me is I'm just going to drive slower. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to slow down even more. Now you're frying me out, so I'm gonna try and fry you out. So I slow down. Now they're more on my bumper. They actually ended up passing me on a 2-lane road. Okay, on a 2-lane road that you're not supposed to pass on.
Yeah.
So I try. I'm not gonna lie that I wanted to catch them at the next light. Like I was hoping.
Were there any words? Looks like.
Oh yeah, there were. Yeah, there were hand gestures, exchange words. Yeah. At one point, I slowed down because the speed limit went from 25 to 40 to 30. Because like you pass this baseball field with a pool, community pool on the right, it slows down to 30. And as we were slowing down to 30, I honked the horn and pointed out the window, like, "Yo, you see the speed limit sign? Like, stop harassing me." And then they passed me shortly after that. And then I was hoping to catch them at the next light, but it's probably better I didn't because it just would have been
it's not worth it,
a confrontation of sorts. So. Yeah, if you want to talk road rage stories, I always in Jersey, these people, oh my God, they're always in a hurry and no one's got time to be behind anybody. And it's kind of wild. So
I've been in some good ones myself, man. I've been in some really good road rage stories myself. Fortunately for me, I never I never got out of the car or had any like fist exchange or anything like that. But it's been close. I've had some bad road rage. I'm trying to calm down in my old age now because it ain't worth it. But anyway, Mike, I can talk road rage stories for like 2 hours.
It's never me anymore. Yeah, I'm chill. I'm chilling. I know. It's the other people that are just aggravating.
Yeah,
so
all right, Mike. I know you both good in league last night. You were
talking
a little bit prior.
I just posted Nico's comment for the people that are just listening to this and aren't watching. I just posted Nico's comment. Congrats, Mike, on shooting 890. I don't know if congratulations is in order. Am I that bad that I deserve congratulations for an 890? But I will say,
I think congratulations is like anything above like 950.
Yeah, if I would have came close to 1,000, I would say, all right, that's good bowling. It's a solid night. But unfortunately, like the sports shots normally do, they can make you feel really good some games, and then you switch pairs, and they can make you feel pretty stupid. So yeah, I bowled well last night. I shot 246 the first game, which admittedly probably should have been 258. I threw a bad shot towards the end of the game that cost me 258. Then the second game, I come out gangbusters. I mean, the first 5 or 6 shots were just so good. I mean, if I could just bottle that up and throw it like that all the time, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. We're good. And then in the 7th, I went front 6, 7th frame. I yank it and I miss it at the bottom. So it hits the pocket pretty good, but flat 10s. And yeah, I knew it right off my hand that it was going to flat 10. I punch out for 279. So I got 246 or 247, 279 for the first two.
You got 520 something.
I do. So I'm like, I'm throwing it so good, and my look is so good. I'm actually thinking 800. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm actually thinking 800. Okay, so
you get ahead of yourself, man.
I know, I understand. Oh, and that's exactly what happened. So I go up in the first frame on the next pair, and I go best shot I threw all night. Had to be top 3 shot I threw all night. Solid 9. Okay, I missed the shit. Okay, so I missed the solid 9. I go on the next lane. I throw probably my worst shot of the night, and leave a 3-pin. I make that. I go on the right lane, and I go ring 10. Okay, left lane. I go 8-10. Good shot. I thought it was a good shot. Hit the hole. 8-10. Okay, go back on the right lane. Stone 8-pin. On the right lane. So, yeah, and then I threw a double from there, maybe 3 in a row. I ended up with 175 that game. And then the last game, honestly, I was just trying to make sure that I got the point. I didn't want to do anything crazy. So, yeah, I shot 195 the last game. I could have doubled in the 10th for 2-0. But, listen, I'll take it to shoot 279 on something that, was not that easy. Although I'll say, like, I would not. This is the pattern I bowled on last night was Broadway from Kegel, and that's a pattern that my Tuesday night's Winter Sport League is considering using. And I'm actually going to email them tomorrow and say, no, take that pattern off the list because it's a little too soft. It's a little too soft. So yeah, listen, I bowled good. It's nice to bowl good. I'm actually missing a Greg Tack little 4-game sweeper tonight to do the podcast. Yeah, I wish I would have been able to go. But I wanted to come here and hang with you guys because I enjoy it that much. But I am throwing it good. I'm going to be bowling Greg Tack's Masters tournament coming up in a couple weeks, so I'll have that. I've been back to the training center a couple times, helping a friend out who's been struggling right now for the last few weeks. Can't say enough about it. Place is great. Last night while we're bowling league, this woman is there with her kid, and she comes up on the approach of one of our pairs and starts taking a picture of her kid a couple lanes over. And yeah, I was just like, see, that's why I go, and I'll pay that little extra to get the peace and quiet of the good practice in. And listen, I'm bringing this up on purpose as a transition to discuss your practice session at Bolero, because you had a recent practice session. Dougie is asking if I'm going to bowl his 5K singles event. I am. If I'm not 100% sure I can make it that weekend because my daughter is going to be starting soccer, so I got to check my schedule. But if I can make it, yes, you have my word, I'll be there. And if I'm not there, definitely assume that I can't make it because the last one was great, and I think you're going to get a really good turnout for this one too. But if I can make it, I'll definitely be there. Mike Wolf chiming in says he needs a video of me bowling. Go to our YouTube page. There's a whole match that I bowled on our YouTube page. I was throwing the Purple Hammer last night too. Plug the Brunswick. Patch piracy. Okay, I was throwing that Purple Hammer, but there's a video of me bowling on our YouTube page. You can check it out. So Rob, talk about your experience. Your experience with practice at Bolero.
I got a few things to talk about before my practice session. So I actually went to B3 on Saturday. That's pretty much my common thing now. I go every Saturday to B3. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I decided to switch. I've been using IT switch, so you actually have to turn the thumbs. If anybody's had this problem before, I've been having this a lot, especially in Arizona when it's gotten hot in the summer. Is the storm cores expand and then you can't get your thumb in the ball. And I've been having this problem so much that there's been tournaments where I would walk into the tournament with 8 balls and I couldn't use 3 to 4 of the storm balls because I couldn't get my thumb in the ball. So and it happened to me again while I was bowling the tournament last week. I talked to Matt Jones, who works for, I believe, Bowler's Mart, pro shop guy, really good bowler. He's telling me that the switch grips, the regular switch grips, not the turbo, I forgot the name of it, but it's the one where you drill it with the outer slug and then you just kind of insert it in half. You don't really have that much of a problem with that. So now I'm switching all my balls from IT to normal switch, which is a whole not new thing because now I have to get new thumbs and whatnot. But it's just crazy to me how cores can expand and then your literally thumb cannot fit in the ball. Like I think it's actually kind of cool in a way. I mean, just how much stuff is going on in the bowling balls that we don't know about. Expanding, covers always. There's, the reasons why balls crack is because the covers are reactive and the cells in the covers are always moving, and that was the reason why like balls crack. Like they crack on the walls of pro shops. They're balls that crack that aren't even drilled. So I don't know. I just thought it was cool as a bowling kind of nerd to like, have this problem. But so I'm doing all my thumbs over again. So that's a nightmare, but it is what it is. So
like
anyway,
the switch grip thumbs, all of them, like they're all a necessary inconvenience. I feel like is a phrase I would use because they're good enough that you want to use them and have that same thumb feel in every ball, but they're not perfected to a point where it's like you can absolutely 100% in all cases rely on this thing. Like some of the balls that I have, they feel a little wiggly. They're a little, and like, I mean, I like the feel of the same thumb, but it's a little wiggly.
You should do? Someone told me this that says it works phenomenally. The balls that you feel wiggle, get a piece of black tape and then put it in actually the outer slug on the bottom of it. And it actually will snug it up when you put your thumb in so it stops the wiggle. It's a trick that he told me to do. I am going to the switch grip now, so I'll see how that works. If someone could invent,
I forget which one I use, but it's
ones,
just like
the ones that are half turn, right?
No, I use the ones that get anchored in. I think it's the vice.
Like it's just a half vice? Turn, right?
You don't pretty much. Right? About half turn, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to. The one I was using was where they had to put a whole mechanism in the bottom of the thumb and then you twist it in and there's definitely some kind of anchor in the bottom of the thumbs that I have. So maybe you're doing the ones that I had. Have you had problems with the storm stuff, like getting your thumb in the ball? Like
no, not really. Well, I mean, I had problems getting one thumb insert in, but it turned out that when I examined it closely, it was actually cracked. The thumb insert was cracked. So when I put it in, it expanded and it wouldn't go in anymore. So, but that's my point though. Like they're not perfected. We've even seen situations on PBA shows where Chris Prather, I think, had an issue with the thumb in one of his balls. It might not have been on the show or right before the show, and had some issues. But like again, there's something that you want because you want that feel, but it really stinks when you have a problem with them, and it's like a big problem.
If somebody could invent not only a great thumb like IT system, and I think it's decent, right? It's like you could use it, and you have to learn the tricks. You have to have multiple thumbs. You have to really like make sure like you're covering your ends if something were to break at the worst possible time. Obviously there's times when just you can't use a certain ball because it happens. But if someone could invent a really good way to do fingers, I have so much problems. I have more problems with my fingers swelling and shrinking at the worst possible times for me that even like, and I don't like the feel of my vacuum fingers because that's what I use. I use vacuums and I use smaller grips. I like the feel of the actual like hole not having a vacuum, but I can't use regular grips because my fingers, they swell too much and then I can't get my finger in at all. If someone could really come up with a great IT invention for fingers, I would love that.
Let's get the thumb right first.
The system they have right now with the fingers isn't great because you have to drill such a big finger hole to do the interchange fingers that it takes a ton of mass out of the bowling ball. At least that's what the pro shop told me, because I asked about the fingers and the ITs because I really would love to imagine being able to just, if my finger swells and just going a half size bigger right there on the spot instead of taking the grip out, replacing it, gluing it back in. It's just a mess. You don't want to do that during a tournament. But anyway, so yeah, I'm doing my balls over my thumbs, so that'll be interesting for me to see how that feels. But so I've been practicing a lot. I've been kind of back in it mentally. I'm great. I feel motivated. Throwing it really great right now. I've been working on stuff, fixing a lot of my issues. So I decided that I was going to go Monday to Bolero. I have my pass, my summer pass. So I'm like, let me use it a little bit, get my free games. And Mike, I picked 3 off the left, my first 3 shots of practice. Okay, so usually when I practice, I start at 15 or 20 and I throw it to the gutter thinking there's going to be a house shot. I literally picked 3 off the left. I moved another arrow or 2 left, threw it again, picked 3 off the left, went to the ball return, switched balls, and I threw it a good shot, and I picked 3 off the left again. I'm like, Mike, what in the God's name is happening right now? So I'm, just getting in front of the ball return, right? I'm trying to figure out how to get the ball down the lane. The ball won't go past probably 35 to 40 feet before it just hooks. There was 0 chance of me getting the ball 40 to 45 feet down the lane. I could have probably thrown my plastic. I would have had to probably stand on about 20. I probably would have had to been looking about 20 to 25 of my plastic to actually probably get to the head pin. After about 3 or 4 games of just the left lane was okay. I mean, I only had to play 25 or 30 on the left lane. The right lane was drier. It was the driest I've ever seen them. Eventually, by the 4th game, I moved out to 5 and just killed my hand and just tried to play straight up 5. But if you missed left, you were instantly in the gutter at the arrows. And if I missed right, it never hit the head pin right. So, Mike, let me tell you something. That right lane that I bowled on at Bolero was probably the hardest thing I've ever bowled on ever, maybe in my whole life. If the pros had a bowl on that, they would walk off the lanes. They wouldn't bowl. There would be none of it from them. They would be off the lanes, right? This was the shot where they obviously haven't oiled in probably a week. The lady at the front desk knew me. Her boyfriend bowls in some of the tournaments. I bowled about 4.5 games. She literally just said, "You know what? You're good." I didn't pay for the bowling. I was able to get at least physically get some shots in, some spare shooting and whatnot. Tried to get left, tried to loft the gutter, tried to loft it, speed it up, do whatever I could. There was really no chance of me getting right at the head pin. I would have probably had to use my plastic ball. So, that's
always a good look at Bolero. At least one pro.
Yeah, Dylan Violinda.
Okay, at least one pro disagrees with you though, Rob.
Oh, I know. I saw Rick Allen or Dick Allen retweet.
Yeah, Dick chimed in. Chimed in, and he retweeted your tweet and said, and I want to quote him here: "These were the best kind." This was a tweet where you were showing how dry the lanes were, and it was pretty ridiculous. You could see that just from one shot. And he said, "These were the best kind of days to practice for me. Still is, being forced to practice outside your comfort zone." And yeah, we had a little back and forth where I said, "Well, this is a little extreme," and he said, "Maybe for some, for others, it's just another adjustment." I told him that the next tour event that guys are lofting the gutter cap after 3 games, I'm going to post the same thing and tag him. And he said that he likely wouldn't be doing that anyway, is basically how he summed it up. But yeah, listen, I mean,
Mike, I would agree with him on one certain aspect of the practice. One certain aspect is the fact that to get practice in front of the ball return for me was okay, because like eventually you might have to go in front of the ball return, and I'm not completely comfortable standing in front of the ball return. Okay.
Yeah, I hear you, but like at a certain point, it just becomes ridiculous and defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do out there.
Scott, here's the funny part. Scott Fairley, Rob, it's summer. They probably only oil twice a week, probably no leagues. Scott, here's the funny part is there was a league coming on left of me. They ran the oil machine to the league, and then they put the oil machine away. So they've literally only oiled for the league that was coming on, right? So I thought it was funny. I'm like, wow, like obviously they're only oiling for leagues. I'm not, gonna argue with Bolero, right? I'm not gonna I got my free bowling, I got my practicing. I just thought the people would all kind of relate to me in a weird way. People like me trying to practice at a high competitive level at a Bolero that's 5 minutes from my work. Instead, like you talked about going to the training facility, I'd rather pay $40 and get an hour of great practice on a true fresh sport shot than bowl 4 games for free, wrenching my back and knees and my arms trying to get the ball down the lane 45 feet.
I agree. I mean,
you know what I mean?
And that it stinks because that's kind of where bowling is, at least unless you have like high level access where, if you want to get that good practice experience, you're going to have to pay a premium at some point.
So now I'm going to get into something that I might take a ton of heat for. And we didn't talk about getting into this prior to the show, but I think this might be a good transition. I noticed that Parker Bones' kids both won their underage divisions of junior gold, okay?
And he won a PBA 50 regional over the weekend.
A PBA 50, right? And
his daughter bowled really good too.
Okay, so that's my next segue, right? First off, kudos to the Bones, right? They're great. The great bowling family might actually at this point be the best bowling family right now out there.
They're running the bowling world.
Is it a coincidence that they're bowling really good now, months before they opened up this training facility? Okay, because now the kids have full access to put out any shots they want at any time, practice on anything they want, right? At all day if they want to, right? And you have a lot of kids out there that maybe don't have the ability to do that, right? And you have a father who is, probably one of the top 10 best bowlers of all time, right? Now, it's no one's fault, but I mean, how do you compete against that if you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old? You know what I mean? You have to literally be Chris Barnes' son to compete against that, right?
No, I'll be honest. I don't think so. I think that for the young people, honestly, I think that they seek out a lot of the young bowlers that I see around the area that I'm in. They seek out these experiences on the tougher conditions. And I'll use this example. He was on the show last week, friend of the show, Greg Tack, right? Rob, you go to a Greg Tack event. If there's 100 people there, probably 30 of them, maybe a few more, are junior bowlers. Okay? So these kids go out and seek out these opportunities to bowl on these tougher patterns.
But how many opportunities
they bowl leagues?
Mike? Yeah, okay. So you bowl 1 league a week, sports shot, right? Maybe 2 a week if you could find me travel. Then you go on a weekend, maybe you find New Jersey. How many sports shot tournaments are there in the East Coast?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could probably find at least once a month or twice a month.
Once a month, right?
Something to bowl, yeah.
Mike, I'm talking the ability and the access to practice every day for 2 to 3 hours on a sport shot, fresh sport shot. I mean, come on. You don't think the people like John Janowitz, who's testing bowling balls at Kegel, you don't think that's an advantage bowling on that every day for 3-4 hours, testing patterns, testing bowling balls? Mike, come on. I mean, I get the juniors are more in tune with the conditions and the stuff going on today's game, but the ability to bowl on that every day, you don't think is a little bit of a, I'm not going to say unfair advantage, but I mean, look, call spade a spade, right? I mean, imagine if me and you had access to bowling those patterns every day for 2 hours, if it, 2 to 3 hours.
Well, I mean, and you're not going to like my take on this.
No, because I knew I was going to get shit for this, but
well,
it is what it is.
I mean, and I practice on sports stuff a lot, and I practice on stuff that I have the intent to go and bowl on, and sometimes it can be more of a detriment than it is a help. Because hear me out, because you go and practice and you get on a pair or a lane with a sport shot on it, and you start out, you try a couple different things, and then you find something successful. Okay. You then bowl on that for 45 minutes. Okay. By the end of that session, you've kind of carved the lane up the way you want it anyway. Okay. Now I go into my league where I'm bowling with 5 other guys on the pair. And yeah, while I might have a good look for practice in the first 3 frames, and I might not miss in practice once I'm warmed up, first 3 frames look good. After that, it all falls apart. And those ideas that I had going in are not always how things unfold, right? So I mean, is it an advantage? Of course. Like it's the same thing with Cameron Doyle, right? He had lanes in his house, in his basement. I mean, and we talked about that back when he was doing more on the bowling scene. But yeah, like of course it's an advantage to have access to something like that. The sad part though is that more bowlers don't have access to something like that.
Well, that's the sad part. See, that's the thing about it though, a different sport, right? Like for instance, basketball, right, is a good sport to talk about this. Dude, if I want to be in an NBA, I don't need to go to a training facility and pay $50 an hour. I can go to the park, right? And I could shoot for hours at the park and get really good at the park. All I need is a basketball, right? And then there's a lot of other sports too where you don't really need and we talked about it being a white collar sport, right?
Right.
I mean, for this aspect of it, yeah, like you got to have the means and the resources and the location to actually have access to practice. Like I'm lucky. I live next to B3 Tempe. You're lucky. You live close to the Parker Bowling facility, right? People in Kegel down in Florida, right? They're lucky. They get to drive the Kegel. But if those people who are living in other areas, anywhere else that doesn't have a training facility within, half hour or an hour of where they live, you have to rely on your local centers to put out a sports shot every week or a sports shot every month. And I think that's why we see a lot of discrepancies in junior gold that you talk about, where kids go and they get their asses handed to them because it's not that these kids that go out there don't, it's not like, they're going and only wanting to bowl in easy shots. Is that who knows? A lot of these kids don't have even the access or the ability to bowl on the hard shot and the sport shot and learn the sport the right way.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know. You're right. Like, you don't know what's actually out there. But, I know, like, one requirement of that program is that they are supposed to bowl in leagues that feature, those types of sport patterns.
Oh, you don't think they find a way around that?
I understand. That's why I preface my statement with that. I'm sure there's some examples somewhere, and it's not uniform across the board, but I would think most people are.
Flacco. Dude, Flacco's the man, by the way. I love Flacco. Spares, drills, practice, coaching. Phil, the one thing you say that really sticks out to me is spares. I mean, we see it on the PBA shows nowadays. The pros can't even make spares. So what do you think the kids are going to be looking at when they watch the TV shows? Oh, screw these spares. Kind of like, fuck them spares. Let's just strike a lot. I mean, that's where we're at. Like, we grew up in the era of spares.
The other point I'll make to your hot take here, Rob, is that the bowling community is so small that in any area you want to point to, like no matter where it is in the country, the people that are involved at those levels of bowling are going to know people who are going to know people who are connected in some way.
Sure.
So like, I got to be honest. Like, I think you're making a mountain out of a molehill here. Like, okay. Yeah, we could call it the training center and this and that, or a kid who lives out in Arizona could go to B3. But really, what are we talking about? We're talking about a pair with a pattern on it.
Sure.
Okay. And I think
100%.
most parents who are, who are the guardians of these kids who are bowling these events, who are investing probably a lot of money in what they're doing with their kids' bowling career, I would almost bet that the people they're spending that money with are in some way connected and in some way looking out for them and saying, hey, listen, like, if you're doing this and you're committing, we got to get patterns out. They have to come in and practice.
Here we have
this opportunity, that opportunity.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope you're right. Because I don't know if that's happening.
I think that that's part of the reason why I believe that we can build a grassroots movement for more competitive bowling, because there are people all over that understand that side of the game and appreciate that side of the game and want to promote that side of the game. And I think that they seek people out who want to participate in that side of the game. So I don't know if it's as hard to get a pair with it. For me and you, it might be, because people probably look at us like, what does this freaking goofball want with a pair of lanes with a sport shot on it? But for a kid or a parent who says, hey, my kid's going out to this tournament, we're investing this money, can you do us this favor? I got to believe that it's not that hard.
David, you're so off on this.
No, David.
Worst comment.
David.
Let me read it. So
David, you're going to get worst of the week for that.
I know, you might get worst.
It's been a slow week in the worst of the week department. Be careful, my man.
I got to read the comment for people in the audio. So David Tolson, you can bowl on a pair after league and essentially get nearly the same experience as bowling on a sports shot. No, that's not even close.
David's never bowled on a sports shot, I feel like.
He bowled in my squad at USBC tournament.
That's not even a sports shot. Was that even a sports shot? Was that even a sports shot they put out there?
If you want to get an experience of bowling like on super duper carry down over and under, then maybe. But not a house shot. It's a completely different style of bowling.
But yeah, listen, Rob, here's what you're right about in your take. Here's what you're right about. Bowling is kind of entering a different stage or era in terms of those who have the knowledge and access and those who don't, right? And that knowledge and that access, it is very important in general. But once you have that knowledge and that access, I think, it becomes easier to benefit from it or take advantage of it, if you will. So I do agree with that part of your take. I just don't think that, especially if you're looking at the higher level kids in these events, let's say the top 50. No, like all top 50 of these kids who bowl this event. I don't care if it's the Bones who won or if it's the 50th place player. I'd be willing to bet you a large amount of money that all 50 of those kids have regular access, almost everyday access to practice for these events. Now, if you go to the 1200th kid and ask me the same question, I'm probably going to tell you no. And you're right, that is an issue, but I don't think the issue is so big that it's like, oh, these kids in this top rank are separating themselves from these kids in this top rank. Now, I think all those are grouped together, and then there's a big cutoff, and there's another big group that doesn't really have it. But, listen, again, I congratulate the USBC on being able to sell that as an accomplishment. I don't know. I saw a lot of kids, a lot of low scores, a lot of DNFs. I don't know. I mean, people want to say it's a positive. Okay, you can take that stance if you want. I just don't know. But now, Scott Fairley in the chat saying USBC Open tournament is an eye-opener, extremely hard for the average player. It is, but here should be the bigger eye-opener, Scott, that while they're struggling, other people are shooting 850, So, Tom Litwin in the chat. Tom, what up? What's good? Saying nothing simulates tournament conditions. You can't simulate crossing house with other bowlers, different topography, different Tom, you might have just joined. I just made the same point to Rob a few minutes ago that sometimes bowling on a pattern by yourself on a pair can actually be a detriment, where you go in with a plan of, oh, this is what's going to happen, and that plan just gets blown apart. But all right, Rob, we'll move on. I did want to say though, we didn't talk about this before we came on, but damn, the Bone family is just running roughshod over the bowling world. So, I mean, really, like impressive. You know, the older son wins junior gold, the younger son wins junior gold. Their daughter bowled really well and made the finals. Dad's out winning a PBA 50 event. I mean, good time to have the last name Bone. They also met Sir Mix-a-Lot. I saw them drop a social media video.
Back. Hey.
And Sir Mix-a-Lot. Are we going to do more 90s hip hop? Or are we going to do more 90s hip hop tonight?
Look at that butt. It's
actually, wild thing. Or no, that was Tone Loc. Sorry, that wasn't Sir Mix-a-Lot. Let me not get my 90s rappers mixed up. Here's my question though. What was Sir Mix-a-Lot doing at Junior Gold? Can anyone answer that for me? Did he have somebody bowling?
They probably USBC is shelling out all those hundreds of dollars for a Sir Mix-a-Lot appearance.
Yo, that's crazy if it was. I need the answer to that. All right. We're gonna move on. This weekend, there's PBA bowling this weekend. A PBA title is on the line this weekend. A PWBA title is on the line this weekend because it's the Lucy. Okay, a breast cancer benefit tournament that has turned into great. Yeah, I mean, has grown tremendously. If you've been following it over the years, they actually had a Beauty and the Beast portion of the event tonight, I believe. I'm gonna have to go back and check that out on Bowl TV. So, yeah, great event. Doubles, mixed doubles.
List here.
All the top players are going to be there and be paired up on the PBA and PWBA side. Obviously you got actually, let me go back on that. Some of the top players will not be there. I'm wrong about that because the Tasmanian Devil tournament is taking place in Australia. So Belmo, Danielle McEwen, Kyle Troop, and Daria Pajak will not be there. Also, Yesser Svensson won't be there. Okay, it's pretty big list of names right there. Okay, so those folks won't be there, but all the other top names will likely be in attendance with a mix of all kinds of bowlers that they get for this event. So, Rob, anything that stands out to you when you looked at the list?
I like this event, the mixed doubles. It's just it's for a great cause, right? Like, I mean, if you're a male bowling this tournament, I feel like you have a pretty good advantage if you bowl with certain women. I feel like there's a lot there. I don't want to cut this to come out wrong. I feel like that the women, the PWBA, there's just a select, like there's a cream of the crop when it comes to the women, and it's a bigger disparage from like there's a top 10 women, and then the rest of the women maybe aren't really. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to get at? Like if you bowl with a Shannon O'Keefe or a Danielle McEwen who's not there, but I feel like you're already like really way ahead of the field. Like if you're a male bowling, I could be wrong, but that's just how I look at it. So like I don't know who's Shannon. Is she bowling with Bill?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, how could you bet against that team? Like I just.
Well, because there's a lot of other good.
They're great. They're great teams, but I feel like, like I said, if you get lucky enough as a male PBA bowler to bowl with one of maybe the top 5 or top 10 ranked women, then I feel like you have a pretty good chance of doing some damage in that tournament.
I mean, I would definitely say that they're probably one of the stronger teams. But
I don't know.
There's other strong teams out there. I mean, you got Deandra and EJ Tackett. Okay, pretty strong team. You got
is Kelly Kulik bowling?
I don't think so. I don't see her listed here. They didn't give a full listing of the field, but they gave some highlights.
I would have called her.
I'm surprised you didn't get asked to bowl. I was going to say that. How does Rob not?
No one's asking me to bowl. Trust me, no one's going to want to donate that.
Liz Johnson and Simonson.
That's
okay. Here's one for you. Hope Grammarly. Hope Grammarly. Okay.
I haven't heard that. Is that Milk Carton?
Hope Grammarly, the girl from McKendree, the volleyball player who made a couple shows.
I know.
Won the singles intercollegiate. She's like she's kind of like a hot name young bowler, right?
Okay.
Chris Prather.
Liz Johnson, Simonson, Bill O'Neill, Shannon O'Keefe.
Stephanie Zavala and Sean Rash.
Stephanie Zavala.
Yeah.
Look, I know what I'm saying. Like, who's Brianna bowling with? Brianna Cote.
Chris Vi. It's a good team.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Stephanie Johnson and Jacob Buttriff. It's pretty. Pretty nasty team.
Yeah, but those are the top tier teams, right? Like, because the women, those are the top 5 women, 10 women in the PWBA, right?
And here's some recent winners: Danielle McEwen and EJ Tackett, Amanda Green and Kyle Sherman. They're bowling again this year. Liz Johnson and EJ Tackett, Bridget Poplar and Jason Sterner, O'Keefe and O'Neill, Parkin and Norton. O'Keefe and Brian O'Keefe. And then Shannon Pulhowski and Tommy Jones won 1, 2 in a row. They've won 4 altogether. They're bowling again. That's a beast of a team.
It's a great team.
So interesting event. I'll be tuning in as much as I can.
Is it Bowl TV or is it
Bowl TV? Bowl TV, yeah. Bowl TV. So I'll be checking it out. But listen, in honor of the Lucy this weekend, Rob and I haven't done this in a while. If you're an OG fan of the podcast, you're going to enjoy our next little skit here because we used to do these all the time. We haven't done them in a while, but I hit Rob up today and was like, "Yo, let's throw down on this." So we have a top 3 list, each of us, and the category was this: dead or alive, in their prime. Best mixed doubles teams you can put together.
And we're going up against each other. My 3 teams versus your 3 teams.
Right.
We don't even know. We could have the same. If we have the same 3 teams, would be the most coincidental thing we've ever done. But I doubt it. There's just too many players and just too much mixes. So you want my team first? You want my strongest? You want to go strongest team first, or you want to go like?
Well, I don't know about you, but all mine are heavy hitter. So you better come with the juice here, boy.
Okay.
So folks in the chat, evaluate our picks, and then if you have any of your own, let us know. Okay, let us know in the chat. All right, you want to go first, Rob? We're going 3 here.
I want to go first.
All right.
Lisa Wagner and Earl Anthony.
That's my first team. All right. I'm gonna trump you. This is gonna be like spades, where you just threw out the king of spades, and I'm about to come with the ace of spades right here.
Okay.
Earl Anthony and Shannon Pulhowski.
Oh, lefties. You
lefties? Okay. Tell me that ain't. If the left is even somewhat good, we're probably running them over.
Okay, so let me ask you: would you rather have Shannon Pulhowski or Tish Johnson?
Shannon Pulhowski.
Really? I'd rather have Tish Johnson.
Okay, all right. Listen, I got all the love in the world for Tish Johnson's game. Like, I tried to throw like Tish Johnson when we were younger, but Shannon Pulhowski is one of the best lefty females I've ever seen in my life. Like, when she's on, she's almost unbeatable. She's that good. So I would take her and the best male lefty perhaps ever. Earl, and again, we're talking in their prime here, right? So no disrespect to a Mike Albee or a Parker Bone. We're talking Earl, all right? So go ahead.
My next mixed team. This is probably my team that ain't losing. They ain't getting beat. This team ain't losing. Liz Johnson is bowling with Jason Belmonte.
Oh, that is a good one. That is the pair. I didn't think about that. The pairing of the goats. Goats. Oh man. Oh, that's a good one. All right. I'm gonna throw out this one. I'm just going in the order that I had them written down.
Okay.
I thought this was a fun combination. And I want to say, I think I'm winning 1-0. That's where I'm at anyway. It's probably going to be 1-1
Earl
after
Anthony,
this.
Lisa Wagner. Lisa Wagner is the best woman bowler of all
Some
time.
people don't even know who Lisa Wagner is, son.
Look her up.
I'm telling you.
Look her
You
up.
know. All right, so I thought this would be a really fun combination, and I'm going a little deep here. If you're not a 30-year plus bowling fan, and Nick Evan the chat is following me here. Michelle Feldman and Robert Smith, Lucy doubles in their prime, son. Just call them Rev Rate Inc., man. I mean, Michelle Feldman. You remember Michelle Feldman? Like, of course, she was the female version of Robert Smith. Like, when you saw her throw a ball, you were like, holy shit. Like, never seen a female throw a bowling ball like that before her. Okay. So yeah, love that one. All right. I'm gonna give you that round. Even though I think that's a really fair fair combination. I'm gonna give you that round since you hit me with the double goat. All right, go ahead. I'm definitely winning this third round because you personally are gonna love the team I put together for the third round. So go ahead.
Okay. My last team would be Kelly Kulick pairing with Walter Ray Williams.
Oh, this is interesting. This is so interesting. That's such a boring combo, though, son.
I know. Boring.
Kelly Kulick
strikes.
Kelly Kulick is not boring, but Walter Ray, like, they're not going to vibe. They're not going to vibe off of each other. You know, they don't play the lanes anything like each other. They're not going to be able to help each other out.
The challenge was one. It wasn't the most entertaining team. Okay, it was put the best teams dead or alive together. Walter Ray and Kelly Kulick. Kelly Kulick, let me get on the Kelly Kulick train real quick.
Before you don't have to. You don't have to.
I'm going to educate some people. Kelly Kulick would have been or could have been the best female bowler of all time if the women's tour didn't fold in her prime, because it folded in her prime. So it is unfair to compare someone like a Lisa Wagner or a Lita Sill compared to a Liz Johnson or a Kelly Kulick, because we both know if the women's tour was going strong and never folded, Liz Johnson and Kelly Kulick probably would have crushed those Lisa Wagners and Lita Sills titles, triple crowns titles. It would have been, they would have been, so amazing to watch if the women's tour never folded.
All right, here's my third one. You don't have to preach to me about Kelly Kulick. My third female is Kelly Kulick. To me, one of the best female bowlers ever, and I agree with.
He won a men's major.
I agree with everything. I agree with everything you said. But how'd you miss this one? How did you, of all people, miss this one and put Kelly Kulick with Walter Ray? Son, no. Let me school you.
In his prime?
Kelly Kulick with Pete Weber. And they're both stop. They're both floating the ball down the lane.
I know.
Nice. Oh, such a nice strip. I mean, their games are like so similar, male and female.
I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. I'm going to take Walter Ray Williams in his prime over Pete Weber in his prime.
Oh, okay. All right.
If you ask me for a doubles partner and you're going to give me Pete Weber in his prime or Walter Ray in his prime, I'm taking Walter Ray in his prime. The guy was unbeatable in his prime. The guy was making shows.
Well, a lot of it depends on what we're bowling. What era's lane conditions are we bowling?
Prime. We're talking in their primes.
I know, but they're like, okay, all right.
I'm taking Walter Ray over. I'm taking Belmo. I'm taking Belmo over all of them.
Okay.
In their prime.
So, folks, let us know. Let us know in the chat if you have any combinations. I saw some good ones there. Somebody put up, which one did I really like? It was one with Mark Roth. I forget what it was, though. Somebody mentioned Mark Roth and somebody, and I thought that was a good combination.
Oh, Mark Roth and Jason Belmonte. Yeah, if it wasn't a mixed doubles.
Yeah, it's mixed doubles. What are you doing?
Earl Anthony, Liz Johnson, talking about accuracy. I'm looking at the people in the crowd here.
Liz Johnson and Parker Bone.
Mark Roth in his prime. Yeah, I mean, but Earl Anthony, Walter Ray, Belmo, right? Like, we're gonna start talking Mount Rushmore of top five bowling.
So
Mark Roth is in Mount Rushmore. There's no
When
doubt.
I thought Michelle Feldman, I actually thought Mark Roth. I'm not going to lie. I actually thought Mark Roth, and I was like, yeah, Mark Roth is a good one there. Michelle Feldman and Mark Roth, two of the people to like change the way that the ball was thrown in that way. But I actually thought Robert Smith was a more fun one, because after I thought Mark Roth, I was like, well, if I'm going that logic, Robert Smith is really another level of that almost in terms of impressiveness. So yeah, interesting.
How fun of a team would be
Norm
Michelle
Duke
Feldman?
and Carolyn Doran Ballard.
Great team.
Okay.
Great team.
All right. Mark Roth and Wendy McPherson. I like that one too. How did Wendy McPherson's name not come up? That's a good one too.
What about Alita Sill? She doesn't get enough talk. She doesn't get talked about enough she had 31 career titles and won the Triple Crown twice.
Yeah, true. We should have went 5 spots. We should have went 5 spots. But you know what? Listen, we've given the people an hour and a half like the last 3 weeks. So
I know we're gonna try to keep.
We're trying to wrap a little early. All right. Speaking of which, Rob, it's time to give the people what they want.
Yes, sir.
You want to go? You want me to go?
Yeah, I can go. I got this sent to me. I'm not going to say who sent it to me because I'm not a rat. I don't want people getting in trouble for sending worst of the weeks to me. But I got this sent to me. It was posted on the California Bowling Staff page. Okay, by Antonio Ramirez. It's 2 paragraphs. It's a pretty good one. It didn't get worst of the week until his last 2 sentences. Okay. So he talks about how I hope everyone had a great weekend. He had a great weekend. He bowled really extremely well in his fun no-tap doubles tournament yesterday and was throwing his pinup Black Pearl treasure for the bulk of the day. So not a big deal, right? So then he gets into his scores. He went 200, 280, 230, 220 and got dragged kicking and screaming by his partner who was in first in the tournament after picking up the sport in October, to first place in the handicap division. Okay, it's not a big deal, right? He's just talking about his bowling scores. Here's where it gets funny and worst of the week. Congrats. We ended up with 24-11 total pins. It felt great to get questions about the brand from curious fellow competitors afterwards, and maybe just a little bit better to quiet some of the trash talkers and doubters.
Where's that from?
The California Bowling Staff page. Whatever that
what?
is. I don't even know what that is.
In order to have haters, don't people have to be aware of what it is?
It's California Bowling Staff. That's the group.
Oh my
But
God.
he silenced his haters, Mike, because they won a no-tap doubles tournament.
I would imagine that whatever California Bowling Staff is, whatever that is, I would imagine that they are amongst the most scurvy of all the patch pirates out there. I don't even know what scurvy means. I hope it's an insult to pirates. I don't even know. I think it is.
I think it's a
you scurvy dog. I mean, it's right. They used it as an insult in some way. So
I saw some comments on the post that was like, awesome.
Is that swag? Is that Nico's in the chat saying it's swag? Bob Moran saying it's swag. Is that swag bowling? All right, well, whatever. Even if it's swag bowling, I stand behind that. That, I mean, come on. That's like the most scurvy of the patch pirates. That's the patch pirate that literally has the patch over their eye, and they have a peg leg. And they're pirates. They're parrots half dead on their shoulder.
It says, awesome for a job well done bringing new bowlers to the game and spreading the word about CP. Silencing the haters, Mike. Shooting on your no-tap doubles tournament.
This game is in such a bad place.
We're in such a bad shape.
It really is.
Why is worst of the week always the funniest yet saddest segment we do every night, every Wednesday or Thursday night?
Serious question. We're not gonna discuss this, but we don't have time. But serious question. if you only bowl leagues, house leagues,
Okay.
do you deserve a patch pirate deal?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No. But I mean, they're giving unless that person owns a pro shop, and then I understand the business sense of it.
All
Right?
right. I guess.
I mean, it's not. I mean, as for the company giving the contract, it would make sense to give it to someone who owns the pro shop. No.
Yeah.
Because of course they're going to sell. They're going to push their product.
All right. I have a first, I think, for worst of the week. Someone has 2 posts in 1 week that are both, I'm going to award both worst of the week to the same person for 2 different posts.
Wow. Okay. Congrats. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes. So Richard Wolf from the Hammer Bowling message board Facebook page. Okay. The first post he put up that I'm awarding him worst of the week for. Congrats, Richard Wolf. Dick Wolf. Dick Wolf.
Like
Dick
that.
Wolf.
Power name. Power name.
Dick Wolf. Dick Wolf was actually, I think that was the name of the executive producer of Law and Order for a long time, Dick Wolf.
So it was.
Right?
When the credits would roll, like
Dick Wolf. I know. That's how much I used to watch that show, actually.
Yeah. And
Richard Wolf.
Blue, too. Remember that show?
I do. My dad was a huge fan of that show. I never got into it.
I think Richard Wolf was producer of that, too. I could be wrong.
Okay. All right. So here's his first post that wins him worst of the week. Question. Is two-handed bowling an advantage over a one-handed delivery? Why or why not? Just curious.
What rock have you been living under?
Richard, where you at, bro?
Where you have you been living? Maybe he just was in a coma the last 20 years.
Here we go. Richard Wolf. No, even if you just woke up, you turned on the TV recently and saw PBA legends bowling with their kids, and guess how all their kids throw it?
Two-handed.
Oh, two-handed. What does that tell you? Okay. Here's the second post. Richard Wolf. I have a sports shop tournament coming up.
Oh, I saw.
Is your thing the way to go? Folks, we're in a bad place. We're in a really bad place, folks. You know, we are. We're in it. Let's educate. Let's educate. You know what I'm saying? When you those of us that have been in the game for a while and understand the game to a high level, when you see these folks who do not, let's help educate. Okay, let's try and do that because I'll
tell you though, my brother tries to do it every once in a while. I'll see him comment on stuff and try to really educate. But the best part of a lot of that is reading the other comments. Oh.
David Tolson commenting that he hopes it's not the same Richard Wolf he knows. Well, David, I mean, not to be too mean, but judging by your comments earlier, it might be. I don't know. Hey, birds of a feather, my man. You know what they say?
Do you know what almost won worst of the week for me, though?
I'm kidding, David. I'm kidding, bro.
Do you know what ended up what almost won worst of the week for me? I almost called it Wolf of the Week. Is watching someone put a picture of their cracked ball, and then everybody commenting on why it cracked. Everybody has got a different version or reason. Oh, the fingers weren't beveled, or did you keep it in the car?
The bridge is too small.
There's just everybody has their own reasons why it didn't crack or cracked, right? Funny thing is, real quick, I have 2 balls on my porch right now in the Arizona summer. They've been sitting out there. Mike, these things are so cracked right now that the ball literally is coming out of its core. And I'm leaving them on the porch, and I want to see how bad they're gonna get because the cracks just keep expanding and expanding because they've been sitting out in the porch in the summer for 4 months.
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot of everything. But I love when people start blaming the ball driller. They start blaming the company. They start blaming everything about why these balls are cracking. When in reality, it's just something that's just part of the reactive resin bowling ball, right? Every ball company cracks, some more than others. There's really no rhyme or reason, I think, to it. It could be a little bit of everything, too. So,
sure.
Yeah.
All right, wrap it up. Final thoughts. My final thought tonight is going to be a good luck shout to a young guy that I bowl with around here. He bowls the Sport League and bowls some tournaments, and we've gone to a couple events together. His name's Matt Gibney. He's bowling in the East Region at Rockaway this weekend in his first regional. So I want to give him a shout, say good luck. I encouraged him to go bowl. I actually gave him a ton of shit about signing up and going to bowl. So I hope he bowls well. Those of you that follow the podcast here, be sure to check for his name in those East Region standings. If I can, I'm going to try and make it up there on Sunday and watch some regional action if I can make it, because I'd likely know at least a few names in the finals there. But I wanted to give a shout to Matt and say good luck.
Good luck, Matt. Yeah, fun going on a Sunday because you could actually watch a lot of the great bowlers bowl on Sunday, but just don't go Saturday. You'll see a lot of tough.
Yeah, I would have liked to have gone Saturday and kind of watched them bowl qualifying, but yeah, I'm having a.
You should have bowled as an amateur,
party.
Man. Oh, the birthday party. That's right.
Yeah, I got the birthday party.
Yeah,
and you know what? Like I'll say, we talked about this earlier. Like having the training center and being able, like if I did want to bowl and being able, they're bowling on the Billy Hardwick pattern, being able to call up there and say, yo, twice this week, can I come in and bowl on that pattern just to get an idea of what I'm doing, would make a huge difference to me. Just in terms of my confidence going in to be able to say, all right, at least I have an idea of where I'm going to be at. Right. I don't want to make any specific plans of what balls I'm going to use. No. Yeah, but bowl, we tend to do that. You know what I mean? And I would have to have that mindset of like, no, I'm not going to do that. But it can't hurt to have a look.
Look, and we talked about this. It's never the same. You could bowl 5 people on your pair. Like it's never the same as when you actually bowl. They change even from Saturday to Sunday when they put out the pattern twice. You ever bowl a regional on Saturday, you make match play Sunday. The lanes never play the same on Sunday. Sometimes they're higher scoring, sometimes they're lower scoring. It's just never the same. That's why you have to be able to adjust on the fly, and you have to be able to try to predict like where your next move is. But that's the fun of the sport, right? And crossing the pairs, pair to pair, the bowling center. It's just a lot of the specifics and a lot of fun guessing and trying to make the right educated guess. That's why bowling is great to me. That's why I love it. My final thoughts. I registered for the TAT on Labor Day weekend. It's $15,000 for first. They have an open division and an amateur division and a lot of other divisions. And then I'm bowling for $10,000 at the Cactus Open the next weekend following the Labor Day weekend. I'm bowling the Arizona State Masters in the end of August. Signed up for that. So, it's probably time for me to start getting rid of a lot of my bowling balls and starting to get some new equipment in the bag. It's fun. I love being able to, take all the bowling balls that I drilled that I didn't like, getting rid of them, and then bringing in new stuff that I think. So, I'm bowling. I'm in it. Let's go.
Get the practice in, son. Get the practice in.
Bolero. I'm going to be lofting the gutter every day for, 3 or 4 days a week. But those are my final thoughts. It's fun to be back in it. It's fun to actually feel like I'm throwing it good now that I could actually start making educated equipment decisions and not have to worry too much of physically what the hell I'm doing. I could just now worry about other things. So we'll see what happens,
True. All right, folks. As always, we appreciate everybody joining us. Kind of a slow time in the bowling world. Next week we'll go over the Lucy results. Maybe some of the junior gold shows will air by then. We can talk about those, make some observations there. But we always appreciate everybody joining us. Follow us on social media. He's at BrooklynRob11. I'm at the 215 on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button for us, please.
Please
subscribe. Thanks. We appreciate it.
Even if you don't even use YouTube, just make a Gmail account and subscribe, please.
Yeah, I'm not bowling this weekend. I might watch some regional action. Maybe I can report back on that, or I'll put some things out there on social media about that. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Rob, have a good week, and we'll see everybody next Thursday.
All right.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and